Hi there, just wanted to talk to you about a topic, and the topic is when builder sends in price after the work's been done. And it does happen. This is why a contract is absolutely needed, and there needs to be oversight of that contract, and there needs to be the correct contract chosen. So here is a fictitious project, and just want to go through it. And just to talk through, the numbers are also fictitious. It isn't South Dublin, but apart from that, everything else is fictitious. Just as a workable example, I'm working on a couple of projects, and unfortunately, well, I'm working on loads of projects, but unfortunately a couple of them do tend to lead to patterns, and sometimes it's just practice, sometimes it is just disposition, sometimes it's malice, and sometimes it's not. So each situation is differently and needs to be taken on its own merit. My own opinion is contractors don't continue with this behaviour. There can be misunderstandings, there can be expectations, but effectively you can't, malpractice. Good builders do not do dishonest things. That does not mean to say that good builders and good clients don't get to the stage where they don't agree and they don't see things, and there's misinterpretations and misalignments and miscommunications, but often missed communications. And that's really one of the big problems that I see in sites is who's the communication. And you could have you could have the general contractor, but if it's the sergeant major meant to be doing the communications, run the project, he may run the project, but he may not be good at communications, and that's a big issue. So just going to run through something like this here. This is on the presumption that there is a contract. This is on, and I'm running through the blue contract because that's the one that I know the best and the one that I endorse the best. But that is not an endorsement to be taken. Every contract is different, every disposition is different, so every situation, scale of jobs, and other quantity surveyors and architects use different contracts. So personal preference is not a endorsement. Okay, so this is when quote is not optimal, no written instructions from the architect, not sought, and no telephone call or no interaction with me. Variations, just taking an attic work conversion to rear extension, side passage, and all of these works are extra works. The attic was priced, the builder's asking for 30 QS figure, so there's in dispute, but this comes in after the fact. So the builder doesn't have the right, well, the builder does have the right to actually price things after the fact, but he has to back it up, and underneath clause 13 he needs to show evidence, and if he can't show evidence, or under clause 2 if he doesn't have written instruction from the architect, or under clause 30 where his defective materials are used, or 35, then payment cert issued. So QS can only prepare an assessment to an architect on actual work carried out, so, and verified works carried out. So this is where grey areas and missed communication come in, and it's usually not deviant, it's just two good parties not effectively, well, operating different expectations often. So, and the builder goes ahead, original quote 30, then it comes in and it's not agreed, square meter rates change from the bill of quantities, and this is why all of this is better preempted. You need to get all quotes in before any work's done. You need to send an email to the builder really early in the process. Do not carry out any works if you expect to get paid for them, or you need to justify them all. And as soon as you see any misalignment, it's up to the quantity surveyor and or the architect and or the homeowner to send an email in writing right away and saying no work is carried out without fully agreed beforehand. And work does go on, variations do take place, they do, but I'm not talking variations here, I'm talking major works. Major works, I'm talking about pattern, I'm not talking about something that is related back to the bill of quantity and price, I'm talking about extra. So need a paper trail, need invoices, need supply, need endorsements, invoices, and if there isn't invoices, then how is it paid for? How is it traced? Need to come back to the bill of quantities, and you can see brand new step wasn't asked for, work double accounted for. So the core thing is, for the homeowner, you can't compare the prices. You lose the right to say no and sign off before agreement. For the builder, claims become harder to defend, and this is awful for them because they get interested, they think it's all good, and it actually leaves, usually it's not Machiavellian, actually it's mismanagement, and it leaves them highly exposed, and that needs to be aligned. And there is nothing worse than seeing good men doing, and women doing great work and not getting fully compensated for it because it's misalignment. And the other mirror of that is homeowners getting work and not knowing what they're getting into, and it's not done correctly and things. So it's all about clarity. We can talk about claim 2, claim 13, 35, B and 30, but the reality is about clarity in communications and not letting that break down. We can talk about the technical stuff, the architect's instructions, phone calls, signing, but the signed detailed quote and a contract are the basis of this. They really are. Okay, so that's just a quick little insight into it. Hope you're all doing good, and I really appreciate you spending some time here. Thanks very much, folks.